Based Government of India. Welcome, sir. Mr. Kensuke Ito, Managing Director, MOL Shipping India Private Limited. Mr. Rene Peel Peterson, Managing Director, AP Moller, Singapore Private Limited. Mr. Shailesh Bildikar, Commercial Director, Maritime Logistics, TriStar. Welcome, sir. Mr. Jesper Christensen, Global Chief Operating Officer, DP World Marine Services and Group CEO, Unifida Group. Welcome, sir. Mr. Anil Devli, Chief Executive Officer, Indian National Shipowners Association. And lastly, Mr. Shankar Shinde, Chairman, Federation of Freight Forwarders Association of India. With that being said, I will now humbly request I will also take the opportunity to invite the co-convener for the session, Chairman, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Port Authority, Mr. Rathendra Raman, and partner and leader, Industrial Infrastructure, PwC India, Mr. Mohammad Athar, who is the moderator for this session that is up due. With all the dignitaries on our dais, I will now humbly request, once again, P.L. Harnath, sir, Chairman, Paradip Port Authority, to please set the context for the upcoming session.
So good morning to all of you. The Honorable Minister of State for Port, Shipping and Waterways, Sri Shantanu Thakurji is on the way, and he will be joining another in 5 to 10 minutes. He will be the session chair for today's topic. And esteemed speakers on the dais, Sri Bhushan Kumarji, Joint Secretary, Government of India, and my co-convener, Chairman Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Port, Sri Rathendra Raman, and all other esteemed panelists who have come from the national and international maritime sector. Today we have a very good panel for discussion on this very, very important topic, that is the latest trends in shipping and maritime logistics. So I also welcome all the delegates who have joined physically here as well as virtually. And ladies and gentlemen, I am honored and delighted for being able to convene this very, very important and insightful session with the dignitaries from Government of India, international and national shipping and logistic players to share their views and experiences on the latest trends in shipping and maritime sector. India is hosting this Global Maritime Summit, which highlights the importance that the country is giving to the developments which are happening in the maritime sector and the need to connect various players at one place. The summit is happening when the shipping and maritime logistic industry is going through, arguably, the most transformative and challenging phases till date. There are multiple shocks that the industry has faced over the last few years, which on relative scale have been more intense than the earlier challenges. COVID-19 has hit the shipping and maritime industry the most, leading to large-scale disruptions in supply chains globally. Over the last 1 to 1.5 years, the Ukraine-Russian war has also been leading the global shipping players to make newer choices, route realignments, and many more changes. While this continues, a heightened climate consciousness and commitments by multiple countries to achieve NDCs, nationally determined contributions, is also leading to new energy and technological solutions, which means higher investments, replacement of older vessels, retrofitting, order books for newer vessels, newer fuels, and other such changes. The recently published 2023 edition of the Review of Maritime Transport paints a complex and mixed picture of the industry. It estimates that the maritime trade volumes will grow only at 2.41% for the next 4 years, which is slower than the growth over past many decades. There are also changes in the preferences that get reflected from the vessel order book. It is building up new trends. For example, according to the recent data from the Clarkson's research, 50% of the global vessel order book in CGT terms, normally it is calculated in CGT terms, compensated gross tonnage, is contracted only for just two shipping segments, that is LNG and containers. This is totally off from the general trend. Also, the emergence of concepts such as hyper-local logistics. It would mean there are dispersed demand supply zones, shorter shipping cycles, newer hub and spoke models. This is also leading to investments by large players to integrate vertically across the supply chains. At the same time, when the world is recovering from the COVID shocks, the maritime industry globally has been resilient enough to bounce back with stronger intra-regional trade activities and more number of newer vessels filling the supply gaps. The IMO's mandate for implementation of maritime electronic single window from next year will lead to better collaborations, better decision making due to stronger data exchange and analytics. With these technological advancements, there are more electronic clearances and processes that will help faster turnaround of the vessels, which means better margins for the logistic players. Ports also play a vital role in maritime business. Some major shifts are happening at a rapid pace in the port sector worldwide. One is the deepening of harbors. Now the harbors have to be deepened to accommodate the bigger vessels to reduce the logistic cost to the customers. Onshore modernization, mega ports, the capacity of the ports is increasing worldwide, including India. Integrated service platforms to provide the services in an integrated fashion and with the ease of doing business as a core. On-arrival vessel berthings, quicker handling of vessels, high productivity infrastructure to reduce the time of berthing. High productivity infrastructure to minimize the handling losses. Seamless connectivity for just-in-time delivery and sustainable operating networks. These are all the trends which are happening in the port sector of late. The most important thing is the connectivity with the hinterland, where actually the cargo originates and cargo is destined to go. So this connectivity is very important, whether it is rail connectivity, road connectivity, or water connectivity, and this plays a vital role in the overall logistic cost and the competitiveness of the exports and imports of a country. So connectivity, we are working in a big way in India, and we will especially in the next few years. Also the Sagarmala program, which has germinated 9 years ago with an objective to improve port connectivity, port modernization, port-linked industrialization, has encouraged private sector participation, technological innovations, and policy and regulatory reforms. Indian maritime sector has witnessed unprecedented transformation over the last 9 years, mainly powered by Sagarmala program. The Sagarmala program was envisioned with 809 projects at a cost of about $88 billion, out of which 237 projects have been completed and another 262 projects are under implementation. The National Logistic Policy and Gati Shakti National Master Plan launched by Government of India focus on integrated development infrastructure, network planning to improve efficiency in services and reduction of logistic cost. As I was talking about, sir, I welcome Honorable Minister of Ports, State for Port, Shipping and Waterways, Shantanu Thakurji. Could you take seat? Thank you, sir. And just we started, sir, and it's only context setting we are taking. And under Gati Shakti National Master Plan, 101 port projects at a worth of about $10 billion are identified to be implemented by 2024. So these trends in maritime and shipping sectors are likely to bring about a consolidation and collaboration on vessel calls, cargo owners, logistic players at one end. Other end, megaports, deeper harbors, innovations in technology and shipping and energy efficiency on the other end. So the chant for being afloat in these tumultuous seas is connect, collaborate and create, which is our tagline of Global Indian Maritime Summit. So the industry calls for a lot more spirit of fraternity than ever before to be able to meet the growing consumer expectations. At the same time, more inclusive growth through sharing of data analytics, adopting more data-driven solutions will strengthen us to look for a better tomorrow together. With this rapidly transforming maritime logistical landscape, the need of the hour is an integrated endeavor to develop an ecosystem of logistic convenience and comfort to the customers. These are my few general thoughts on the subjects. We have very experienced and eminent panelists to share their thoughts and experiences on the happenings of the shipping and maritime sector globally, not only at global level but national levels also, and the implications of these happenings. I wish these discussions will enrich us on this sector and will be very, very, very fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. P.L. Harnath, for setting the context of this session. At this juncture, we'd like to acknowledge the honorable presence of our Honorable Minister of State for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India, Shri Shantanu Thakurji. We welcome you, sir, in the House. Thank you very much. And I'd now like to request Mr. P.L. Harnath, Chairman, Paradip Port Authority, and Mr. Rathendra Raman, Chairman, Syama Prasad Mukherjee Port Authority, to kindly felicitate our Honorable Minister of State for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India. And I would humbly request all our members on the dais to please once again rise for a group photograph. With this being said, it is my honor and a privilege to welcome the Honorable Minister of State for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India, Shri Shantanu Thakurji, to deliver the keynote address.
Good morning to everyone. Today is a very important day, and this session, I think today we're discussing about Sagarmala and many things others. So in this auspicious day, I need to deliver my few matters in here. So, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests, and esteemed colleagues is present here, I give you a warm welcome to everyone. The Sagarmala session of the Global Maritime India Summit 2023 is an opportunity to reflect and discuss the significant transformation that has taken place in the Bharat maritime sector through the implementation of the port-led initiative. This initiative has had a transformative effect on the Bharat maritime landscape, providing immense opportunities for growth and development. By harnessing Bharat's vast coastline, navigable waterways, and a strategic location on key international maritime trade route, Sagarmala is a flagship program of the Ministry for Transformation of the Maritime Bharat. It is more than just an infrastructure development project. It is a comprehensive vision that seeks to transform Bharat's maritime sector and propel of the country towards the economic growth and sustainability. Launched in year 2016 in the first edition of Maritime India Summit 2016. Sagarmala program seeks to revitalize in Bharat's coastline and maritime infrastructure in a comprehensive manner. It encompasses a variety of initiatives and policy measures to unlock the potential of maritime Bharat. The main object of the program are the reduced logistic burdens and and optimize port operation and boost trade through the utilization of the maritime sector. The Sagarmala program has seen a continuous stream of the project being added to the program in accordance with the object of the program. In a merely 6 years since in the inception of the scope of the program has significantly increased. Today, Sagarmala has a board cabas of the 809 projects worth rupees 5.74 lakh crores. Through Sagarmala port, connectivity has a significant improved through the implementation of modernization of the existing port and construction of the new terminals, resulting in the significant increase in freight handling capacity and enhanced operational efficiency, contributing to the increases trade and commerce. Sagarmala also promotes industrial development in the visionary of the ports, ensuring the efficient and sustainable development of the value chain, thereby creating employment and stimulating economic growth. It also places to a strong emphasis on this expression of these inland waterways as a means of the transportation that both economical and environmentally friendly and also facilitates domestic trade and cruise tourism in the coastal region, thereby looking economic potential in the coastal area and contributing the development of MSEs in the maritime industry. Since inception of the program, 94 ports modernization project costing rupees 31,000 crore has been carried out so far with a capacity increase of 230 MTPA. 9 port industrialization project has been successfully completed, amounting to a total of rupees 45,865 crores. Furthermore, a total of 8,000 plus acres of land has been allocated to the port of industrialization. It is estimated that approximately 2 lakhs of direct and indirect jobs has been created. Sagarmala initiatives encapsulate Bharat ambition to develop in the maritime sector and unlock its full potential. Not only does it facilitate trade and economy development, but also guarantee sustainable practice that will safeguard future of Bharat maritime domain. Let's continue to work together and innovate to this create maritime landscape that fuels the Bharat prosperity and sustainability. With that word, I like to conclude right now. Thank you very much. You all are welcome.
माननीय मंत्री जी आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Let's move forward to the exchange of MOUs. The first of the two that we are about to announce is between Shama Prasad Mukherjee Port Authority and Eagle Rail. The MOU is Port Operations and Ease of Container Movement. It's worth 300 crores. Can we please have the esteemed dignitaries exchanging the MOUs? Thank you. And for the next one, it's floating LNG terminal between, once again, Shama Prasad Mukherjee Port Authority and Inveneer Energy Group, worth 2,000 crores. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause. And for the next set of MOUs, may I humbly request Mr. Sondi from Paradip Port Authority to kindly announce the next set of MOUs. Welcome, sir.
First MOU is between Paradip Port Authority and Tata Steel Limited. I would request our chairman, Paradip Port Authority, and Chief Port of the Mr. Shantu Verma from Tata Steel. This is valuing 750 crore for the cargo handling of for cargo handling. The next one is between Paradip Port Authority and Aegis Logistics Limited. I would request Mr. Sudhir Malhotra, CEO of Aegis Logistics, please. This is valuing for 520 crore for a storage terminal and associate infrastructure for the handling of bulk liquid product and gases. next MOU between Paradip Port Authority and IFCO, I would request our traffic manager, Mr. G. Edison, and Satyabrat Malik Mishra from IFCO. It is valuing 83 crores for inland water transport of gypsum. Next one is between Jindal Steel and Power Limited and Paradip Authority. I would request Mr. Golak Bihari Mishra, Vice President Logistics from JSPL. It is 638 crore for handling of die bulk and break bulk cargo at Paradip. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Those were the exchange of MOUs. Now let's jump right into the panel discussion. And let me hand it over to the able moderator of this session, Mr. Mohammad Athar, partner and leader, Industrial Infrastructure, PwC India. Mr. Athar, over to you.
Hello. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. It's a big panel. I have to do justice to this panel in terms of pivoting all of us towards some very specific conclusions which are very meaningful for the audience here. I'll start with Minister Sir's permission with a brief view on what is happening globally, which is going to bring the entire shipping and maritime industry at the core of this big transition and transformation that's happening. If you see globally, there are three big transitions happening which will have a big impact on our shipping and maritime sector. Think of energy transition. The world is going through a massive energy transition, and at the core of this whole energy transition would be this industry in terms of right from the way the shipbuilding industry is there, to the use of fuels, to the way the infrastructure construction is happening, and that's where the need for energy transition and the latest in the energy transition would be needed in this industry. The second big change that's happening in this world is the supply chain transition. We are seeing new trade networks getting developed. We are seeing new investments happening in sectors. Places like India are attracting investments in sectors like electronics, EVs, green hydrogen is a new thematic. And like India, there are many new places that are emerging as new hubs for manufacturing, and which is going to transition the way the supply chains were operating. There would be new regional supply chains, there would be new reshoring, and that will have a big implication on our maritime and shipping industry. And is the industry ready for these kind of changes? And that's the second big change that would be important. I think the third big change that we are seeing around the world is the entire technology transformation. The way we operated our businesses, the way we monitored our businesses, the way we looked at efficiency in bringing our businesses, there's been a massive turnaround and a massive focus on efficiency creation, leveraging technology. And that's where, again, there will be a whole set of opportunities in our maritime and shipping and the larger logistics sector to think about what kind of technology transformation. In this panel, luckily I have somebody who would have spent at least a couple of decades only solving for one of the three pillars as I spoke about. And that's what I will try to drive as a focus in this panel, to really demystify for you that if there are challenges, so are our big opportunities. What could be the large investment opportunities? What kind of policy shifts the government is making? And then what, as an audience here, as an important stakeholder here, what should be your focus area? With that brief context, let me start with Ito-san. Ito-san, we are talking about a lot of disruptions. We are talking about a lot of changes in the global maritime industry. As per you, what would you put as the top two positives that are happening in the industry? in the overall global maritime industry, and what are the two challenges we should keep an eye on? And from an India perspective, where should we put our focus on?
Thank you very much. So you asked me two each, positive and two negative. I don't want to be I don't want to be pessimistic, but please allow me to concentrate on one positive and the two negative. Sure. And the one positive one is that, basically, even the only one positive trend is that increase of demand for transportation. Even though many people are saying slow down and but still the demand is increasing thanks to the growth of world economy. But at the same time, much more obvious than before is the uneven growth by region. And for example, the so-called global south, advocated by India and also led by India, is we can enjoy that stronger growth. But at the same time, in the developed countries, the growth is very limited. So that is the kind of area which we have to keep in mind. But that is a point, positive point. A negative point is first point is first point is the shortage of well-trained crew, which we have already experienced in the LNG carrier sector. And another negative point is that the excess tonnage capacity caused by the ample worldwide ship building capacity, especially in the Far East. So those are the two negative points which.
Thank you, Ito-san. Thanks for being so precise. Bhushan sir, I'll come to you now. So you are at the helm of policy making, and clearly Sagarmala has really transformed the landscape with which we thought about our maritime sector, whether it is the port-based industrialization focus or the focus on reducing logistics cost efficiency, bringing more logistics efficiency. Would you detail us more about what has been the focus of the program, what are the key initiatives being taken, and how it will start showing much more impactful results in the near future?
Hello. Yeah. Good morning to all. As Ito-san said, transportation is increasing day by day. There is more and more demand. So under Sagarmala program, we are basically working under 5 main verticals. The first one is port modernization. All our existing ports we are modernizing, also creating new ports, new facilities, and we are bringing in the private players to operate our ports so that we have the best of the world efficiencies in our ports. The second main vertical is to provide the seamless connectivity, the port connectivity. We are working on the first mile and last mile connectivity. So we are having around 298 projects, out of which we have already completed 75 projects. So we are working on large number of rail and road connectivity projects. The aim is, as soon as the cargo lands in the port, it should get evacuated within minimum time, So we don't want to hold that transportation because demand is growing, so we have to be very, very fast. Even the moving cargo has some cost. So we want to bring down that cost. The ultimate aim of the Sagarmala program is to reduce the logistic cost to a minimum level. So with that aim, we are working on various fronts, and also we are working on to promote the port-led industrialization, wherein we are promoting the export and import oriented industry to set up their industries within our ports. So we have already allocated more than 8,000 acres of land to various industries, and large number of investments are coming in our ports, so that they need not to spend any money in transporting unnecessarily to hinterland, then coming back to the port, right? So we are giving them more and more space in our ports. Then we are also working on improving the coastal shipping and inland waterway transport. So we are creating dedicated berths for coastal shipments, and also inland waterway transport we are improving, and we are seeing huge jump. If I talk about waterways, in waterways we are seeing a jump of around 30% on annual basis, right? In coastal shipping also we have seen a jump of more than 10% on annual basis for last 5 years. So that is the kind of response also we are getting. As we are creating more and more infrastructure, we are getting a lot of good response. if, as you specifically asked for port modernization, in port modernization alone, it's a huge vertical. Sagarmala program as such is a huge program. It has 809 projects costing up to 5.7 lakh crore. In port modernization only, we are having more than 200 projects, 234 projects we are having. And half of the Sagarmala money we are spending there only, around 2.4 crores is the kind of investment there we are having. And close to 100 projects we have already completed in our ports. And if I talk about the capacity creation, we have already created huge capacity. In our major ports only, the capacity in last 10 years have jumped from 870 million ton to around 1600 million ton. Similarly, we are closely working with the state ports. We are even giving grants to the state ports. And state ports capacity has also increased from around 700 million ton to now more than 1000 ton. Wow. So that is the kind of jump we are seeing in the port sector capacity, better handling. The ultimate aim is to have zero waiting time for the ships. If transportation is growing, we should not be blocking that traffic, that transportation. So the aim is to quickly berth, unberth the ship, unload it, and quickly evacuate the cargo. So we are taking all these steps to improve the entire ecosystem.
Thank you, sir. It's great to see how comprehensively across all the 5 pillars we are working on this. And it's great to see government taking a lead in making it as a great enabling environment for the private sector to really thrive in this industry. And that's what brings me to Jesper. Jesper, my question is, we are seeing a lot of changes in the supply chain. We are seeing a lot of focus on regional supply chains that are coming up, nearshoring happening. How's DP World aligning to this new landscape as one of the largest players in this industry?
Yeah, Honorable Minister, Chairman, Mr. Moderator, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and thank you for the question. I think it's undisputed, right, that there is a increasing trend towards regionalization, maybe even away from globalization, breaking up of supply chains, at least finding substitutions for your once only global supply chains. And I think that never mind what we do to breaking up of supply chains, at least in this part of the world, India kind of sits in the middle of that. So when supply chains are being regionalized, India remains an important part of that. And then you ask, what are we doing as the DP World Group, and therefore also my other hat, the Unifeeder product, so coastal shipping. Yeah, we are trying to, because I think that is absolutely necessary to facilitate such regionalization, building up regional networks. It is not done with just having the Sagarmala project or the policy guidelines. We also need to create these maritime networks, these seamless logistics operations. We also heard from the colleagues here already that it is important to make sure that we have a seamless connection to the hinterland. That is what we take very seriously in DP World, creating connectivity between inland locations, inland depots, rail depots, maritime terminals, and then connecting it to a very, very dense regional shipping maritime network. We call some 20 ports along the coastline of India 50 times a week because we take it very seriously to create those ecosystems that will facilitate the regionalization. You also have a policy program in this country called Made in India. I think that is also a chance for promoting such development if we get the regionalization of supply chains to work, that we actually get that cargo out there on the sea. And for us, that's very, very important to facilitate that through real maritime networks.
Thanks, Jesper, for saying that, and I'll build upon that point, and I'll come to Rene for that. Rene, when there are just too many disruptions happening too fast, the fundamental of the logistics industry itself is changing, and what used to be seen as factor costs, they themselves are changing big time. How a large shipping company like yours aligning to this new big change? What are the current challenges you see where much stronger public-private partners should come up to enable predictability around these challenges? And then how do you see this whole landscape evolving over a period of time?
Thank you, and thank you for hosting us here today. I'm here together with a number of Maersk colleagues, and it's an honor to be here with Mr. Minister Thakur, fellow speakers, and the audience here. And thank you for the question. I think this is, it's a huge question. I could probably talk for hours. I will not do that. But let me try to touch upon three aspects in this context. The first one is that disruption has become a norm. The second thing is that within supply chain logistics, we are seeing a paradigm shift. And then I would also like to touch upon how we address that as a company. First, on disruption being a norm. I think COVID was mentioned earlier on, but we've actually experienced a lot of disruption. We had Brexit a few years ago, we had COVID, we had an Ukraine war, we have a situation in the Middle East that are developing as we are speaking here. These events has always happened. We've always seen this. But at the same time, we are also seeing that the international trade system, the free trade system, is under more and more pressure. We are also seeing that geopolitics is playing a bigger role. We are actually seeing supply chains being created on the basis of geopolitics rather than what is the most efficient trade. And finally, I think you mentioned in the beginning, we also have climate change. And we haven't really seen the impact of climate change to our industry and to the logistics chains yet. So that brings me on to my next point, the paradigm shift. How does business react to this? What we are seeing, and I think my colleagues are seeing, is that supply chains are being rewired. We are talking about nearshoring, we are talking about friendshoring, we are talking about diversification, offsourcing. So this is something that are changing very fast and is changing globally. And it will impact us all. How does the customers react to that when they engage with us? Yes, as Jesper just said, they need different networks, they need different ports to be served. What they're looking for is actually a much closer relationship with our, with the service, with us as service providers. In the past, we would be, should I say, almost a commodity-driven industry. Our customers would just be looking for the lowest cost. They're still looking for the lowest cost, I promise you. But now they're also looking at who can provide the flexibility and the service they need in this changed environment. And this is what we are working with in Maersk. We are looking at creating much more visibility. The days, if I can put it like that, the days where you put your stuff in a container and you sealed it and put the container on a truck, and then it would end somewhere in the world where you have decided it should go 3 or 4 weeks later, those days are over. Our customers want a lot more visibility on where their cargo are, when does the cargo arrive. They also want control, because actually they may want to change the route of the cargo. The cargo that was going, the textile going from Bangladesh to South Australia, may actually have to end up in Korea or Japan. So we need to give them the instruments to give them the flexibility. So when we are actually having the container in a transshipment port, we can actually strip the container and put the cargo on a plane and fly it to Korea, because that's where the cargo is needed just now. So this is what is changing just now. So providing this visibility, flexibility, and control, that is how we respond to the situation in the market, or the developments we are seeing in the market just now. Thank you.
No, thanks. That was a very good, comprehensive answer. Especially it has insights to a lot of actions which each industry should take up. Shailesh, my question to you now is, in this industry, we have seen a large consolidation happening, a bit of M&A. There was some which actually broke up also. How do you see the industry evolving from M&A perspective? What do you see will happen more closely on the Indian shore? What do you see happening at a global level?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. First of all, thanks everyone for hosting us over here. Thank you for the minister and all our colleagues over here. I would like to start with, thanks Rene for setting up a stage for this answer, because I'm going to take it from this point. So we are going through the disruption phase at the moment, the entire industry. We have technological innovations coming up, we have decarbonization coming up, and at the same time we have a huge demand of the new transportation coming up. So that is the reason where we have got more and more mergers and acquisitions happening. Sure. But the industry is far more fragmented in a way that it can lead to any, the mergers and acquisition is the only way we can go ahead. Sure. To start off with. And I think it has got a lot to do with efficiencies and driving the cost down, and that's the whole objective, to work on those parameters. So I see mergers and acquisitions will continue to happen. There will be a cultural integration, which would be difficult. That is why some of them are failing off. Right. But I think on an industry-wise, it is a good thing, because the fittest will survive and the fittest will grow. It's more about a value creation. So.
Thanks for saying that it's all about value creation, and value creation for all the stakeholders, that becomes important. Anilji, a question from you, from your experience in the sector. What do you think are key logistics policy initiatives that are required to be taken up amidst all these things that are happening, that can really bring our focus on reducing logistics cost and also enabling some form of demand creation for this industry? What would be your perspective on that? Yeah.
Thank you. I represent the Indian ship owners, so therefore my perspective will be from the Indian ship owners. The logistics is really a very large sector, and I cannot profess to understand all of that. But I think what is important, especially from the Sagarmala point of view and coastal as well as carriage of cargo, is competitiveness. And I was just talking to him just now. And we are very happy to see that Indian ships need to get more and more competitive today. And you cannot afford to have, so to ask me what are the steps that need to be taken, I think the first important step that needs to be taken is to consciously ensure that there is no asymmetry in cost of operation just because I'm an Indian flag. Sure. I should be able to otherwise operate at the same efficiency. Of course, I can't say that I'll be equal to Maersk, but at least I can try and emulate Maersk in their practices and try and get better, because they are a market leader. But asymmetry cannot exist because of duties, because of taxes. So I think the first thing that needs to be done is that we need to look at, or take a look at, is it necessary to impose these duties and taxes on Indian shipping when worldwide no shipping is liable for tax. The second issue which you touched on in your introduction is something I think very important for us, is the decarbonization that is coming up. Today, we have vessels which are just about 22 years of age on an average. And we will need to ensure that we get better with our CII ratings. Not having a good CII rating is going to ensure that my SCIs and my Great Easterns, when they're carrying oil, crude oil internationally, are going to face penalties when they carry cargo into Europe, unless they are CII efficient. Now for that, in order to become efficient, there is need for money. And there will be need for the government of India to look at policies which will ensure that funding is made available for decarbonization. Sure. At the end of the day, it's a national goal that we need to reach to. So I would, given the paucity of time, I would flag these as two important issues that we need to look at. The first being to make Indian shipping competitive so that we can carry more cargo and be available in times of emergency, like the Ukraine trade, where we are not participating today in carriage of any crude oil. And the other is, in order to get better and to get up and say that when I grow up I will be a Maersk, is to be able to get the necessary funding and the support so that our ships can get more efficient in terms of decarbonization. Thanks.
Thanks for setting that vision so honestly for our shipping companies. I think that's something very important. I'll move to Shankar, and I talked about technology transformation that's happening, especially from a freight forwarding industry perspective. A lot of digitization, we're talking about automation. How do we think about this industry becoming customer ready? What are the changes we are bringing in terms of digitization, working with our clients to retain our clients?
Thank you. Thank you for that very pertinent question. Honorable Minister, Shri Shantanuji, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries off the dais, and my colleague participants, delegates over here. First of all, congratulations for the Government of India for organizing this great event under the Minister of Port Shipping with these sessions, and great efforts by these secretary, joint secretaries over here. And good trade participation, that's bringing all the world together on a common platform to discuss, to have dialogues. As far as digitalization is coming into the picture, we find that India is moving towards everything, digital, India digital. So it's not a concern, it's a very welcome move rather. And as a freight forwarding industry, we are looking at it as a change model, not as a threat or not as a redundant practices or something. Yes, there was a time when the manual processes were required, but if we see the 3 decades of our logistics industry, from transformation from manual to digitalization, and the present which we experience into a digitization. So there's a lot of difference into all these 3 era of 3 decades. So when we talk about digitization, it is not in isolation by itself, everybody is going to have it. There is a huge potential into this digitization, and each freight forwarder, logistics service provider, custom brokers will have an important role to be played in the whole of this system to have a seamless flow in the supply chain. So that is where we look forward. If you just go, because if it is required, then we need to support it with some stats also. I will not dwell more into the stats of the detailing, but I'll just give one overall stats. If you see the Indian digital fora for this achievement, the CAGR wise also, if you see the increase which has taken place in India's digital freight, which was USD 380.62 million is in 2023, and is expected to reach $1,129 million by 2028. So we know how much potential is left. And when you compare this with the global digitalization, actually you should get the gap analysis within this, so what is that to be achieved. In 2021, it was invested, it was $18.10 billion. And going ahead, by 2030, it is expected to be $77.52 billion. So that is the potential what we see into this. So, and when we see this digitalization, it's a small part of the whole logistics era. So when digital itself has such a high potential, then just imagine what the logistics potential could be. So it's a good move. We are accepting it's a welcome move, and there's a very much more important professional role for our logistics service providers to provide. And it is just a start, I would say. It's not even a start, because we are seeing the digital is not only by digitization of documentation or data flow, but artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and then we have other such high robotic implementation into this industry, which has still not been foreseen, which is required. So there is a big potential which we are looking forward to. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, हम माननीय मंत्री जी को धन्यवाद कहना चाहेंगे हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this morning. And we would like to thank him once again with a huge round of applause for his perspectives and notes that he shared with us as special address.
Yeah, we'll continue.
And we will
Minister.
proceed with this session as it is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Athar.
Sure, thank you. So, I think we have tried to cover a lot in the last 20 minutes, and as I shift my focus towards investments to be resilient, we talked about a lot of actions. Let's try to see where will these investments come from, how can we channelize some of these investments investments which are not at the cost of doing business, but investments that enable. I'll ask Ito-san again from his perspective. Ito-san, we are talking about being ready for these disruptions. We are talking about a lot of policy changes. We're talking about digitization. From your perspective, what would be the key investment areas we should focus on? Should be more on physical infra or digital infra or both? What's your perspective on that?
Thank you very much for the question. And please allow me to take this opportunity to express our policy, our business plan. And then, yeah, as I mentioned, the economy is booming, but depends on the area. And then our policy is to try to search and also invest in the kind of promising area where we can expect a stable growth. And then and also try to minimize the negative impact of the downturn of the cyclical market. So our plan is to highlight more on the region. And then in that direction, we have already started strengthening the business base in India by establishing the profit center company in India, and also diversifying that business portfolio from not only for shipping, but also to more infrastructure related business, like logistics, warehouse, and also real estate also. So that is the area which we are quite keen to invest further. Sure. And the key to the success of that plan is to adherence of so-called localization. And where we should put more, give the broader authority to the regional company. And then also letting the national staff to cultivate the business by themselves through their own network. Okay. So that is the area which we are quite keen. Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you, Ito-san, for outlining your investment focus areas. And I'll come to Bhushan sir now. Sir, we have seen a massive private sector investment in major ports in our country, and that has also enabled a bit of growth. I'd like you to talk about some of these big wins that we have had, and where do you still see an ability to bring more private sector capital, because government is building the foundation blocks for private sector capital to come in. So where do you see these big opportunities for private sector to come in the program, sir?
Yeah. See, in our country, we have a huge maritime ecosystem and infrastructure, right? So in our country, we have more than 70 ports, and out of these 70 ports which are handling cargo, we have 50 ports which are handling export and import related cargo, right? And the total capacity, if I talk about, is around 2,600 million ton. So in next 25 years, as per the Amrit Kal vision, which was launched by Honorable Prime Minister yesterday, this capacity will grow up to 10,000 million ton. This will be at least 4 times, So we want private investment, more and more investment. We can only grow if there is private investment. We are at least at ministry level, we are very clear that we will develop all this capacity through private sector only, right? Now, to facilitate more and more investment, what we have done in recent past is we have revised the model concession agreement in 21, in which we have balanced the risk between the concessioning authority and the concessionaire. I'll just give you a couple of examples how we have done it. Like earlier, there was no clause for change in cargo. If due to any unforeseen reason, right, the cargo is not flowing, some other cargo demand is there. Now the concessionaire can change that cargo. Then the second big change we have brought in is the freedom in fixing the tariffs. Earlier, TAMP used to fix the tariff. Now TAMP is abolished. The private players can fix their tariffs. We have already issued the guidelines how to fix that, and they have the full freedom now. So they can decide the tariffs based on the market condition. And earlier, one more gray area was there, that if a project used to get stuck before commercial operation, right, then concessionaire or the lenders were not getting any money. And those kind of projects used to get stuck in the courts or arbitration. So what we have done is that pre-commercial operation also, if project is stuck due to any reason, and we will pay to the lender for the value of the even partially completed project, right? So now concessionaire is not at risk. Even before commissioning, we are there to take care of the investment. After commissioning, if there is any change in cargo, then again we are ready to change that, right? So all this risk balancing we have done, we have clearly stipulated the, obligations of the concessioning authority with timelines, right? And if there is any delay from the concessioning authority, we will also pay LD to the concessionaire. It will not be one way, right? The liquidated damages will be both ways. So all these changes we have made in the model concession agreement, and we are seeing huge response. If you see the recently awarded big project in Paradeep, we have awarded Western Dock project, which was costing more than 3,000 crore, right? And number of people bidded in that project. Similarly, in JNPA, we have awarded one project, container terminal, in which we got more than 10 bids in that, right? So that is the kind of response we are getting. Apart from this, we are also in process of improving the captive policy. We want to promote more and more captive business in our major ports. So that is also we are working. Very soon we will be launching that also. And then we have couple of pending issues, pending litigations because of the earlier concession agreements. That also we are trying to resolve. Just to give a message to the investors that yes, we are with them. We are there to resolve all the issues. So what we have done is we have formed a conciliation and settlement committee where we are sitting across the table and settling out all the previous litigations. And whatever we have learned from the all litigations, we have already incorporated in the model concession agreement. And it's a dynamic process. We will keep on changing the conditions as per the demand from the private sector, but all this capacity will come from the private sector. If I talk about the quantum in major ports alone, we have around 300 berths, right? Out of 300 berths, currently around 92 berths only have been given to the private sector. Wow. So 1/3 of the berths are with the private sector, and the private sector is doing a beautiful job. They are handling 56% of cargo which is handled in our major ports. So with 1/3 of the space, they are handling more than 50% of the cargo. And in Maritime India Vision 2030, we have clearly set a target that we will give them more and more cargo. The target is that by 2030, they should handle 85% of the cargo, right? And we have a clear pipeline for the investment for next 5 years. There is a clear pipeline, how many projects will come up, which year those will come up, so that investor can also plan for their investment. And all this data is available on our website. So it's very transparent. Investors can plan their investment, risk balancing we have done, and number of opportunities that we have clearly shown. In Amrit Kal Vision 2047, we have set a target that by in next 25 years, 100% cargo will be handled by a private player only. So there is huge opportunity for the investors. They can come invest, and in our sector, this is 100% FDI through automatic route. It means that the investor need not to take any approval. They can just bid and invest the money. So no prior approval is required for bidding or participation in any of the tenders. So this is the kind of ecosystem we have developed, and we are continuously improving. Sure. And if you allow, I would like to cover the points raised by Jasper and Anil and Shankar on logistic, because there is no one from the logistic DPIIT ministry, right? So on the software part also we are working, right? The DPIIT is taking care of that. Ministry of Port Shipping is working mainly on the hardware, hard infrastructure side. So from DPIIT side, there are two main initiatives, right? One is the Gati Shakti National Master Plan. So the aim of that is to integrate all the efforts, right? Like Ministry of Port Shipping and Waterways, we are working mainly on the ports. Similarly, road and highway, they are working on the road part, and railway, they are working on railways. Now, each one is having their own priorities, right? So what Gati Shakti is doing, they have asked us to plot all the data on the portal. There is a portal created. So all port data, all road, railway, all projects are there. And what we have done is there is a network planning group, which has the all JS level, senior level officers there. So all 11 ministries sit together, they evaluate the project, they identify the gaps. So it is an integrated approach now which government has taken for creating any infrastructure. And on the software part of it, one is Gati Shakti, which is again on hardware and integrating all, right? And to speed up the projects by giving all the data through a portal, right? Real-time data is available to all the ministries for everything. So our DPRs, our project planning, all those things have been really expedited, right? On the software part, last year they have launched the National Logistic Policy. The aim of which is, as Jasper was saying, to create seamless, reliable, efficient, cost-effective, and sustainable green network, right? And in that, what they have done is they have formed a service improvement group in which they are continuously in touch with all service providers, taking their feedback where we need to improve our systems. You know, policies, framework, rules, all that they are doing. And they are also taking on board all the states also, because states are also major stakeholders. So in last 1 year, since the launch of National Logistic Policy, they have coordinated with the states, and 22 states have also launched their logistic policy. So National Logistic Policy is in sync with the state policy, and the private stakeholders are also on board through these kind of platforms, right? So all these initiatives government has already taken, and the whole aim is that the role of the government should be bare minimum, and we will just provide an ecosystem and governance framework for the private sector to grow.
Sure.
Right? Thank you.
No, so that was really good to know in terms of A, there's actual investment of private sector, and B, I think there's many more opportunities that are coming up which will, shape the landscape. I'll quickly move to Jesper. Jesper, we talk about competitive supply chains. The multimodal infrastructure becomes very critical. From DP World's experience, where do you see a big opportunity for us, and what should we be doing more?
I think I would, three comments to that. Let me just pick up on what was just said on seamless networks. I mean, it's, with all due respect to Sagarmala, Made in India, all of these projects, we need to also create the facts on the ground. And what we need to focus on together with the authorities, but especially us as investors and operators, is that we do not only talk about it, we also go out and do it. And I think it's pretty undisputed that whether it is investing in ports, whether it is investing in economic zones, as my good colleague Mr. Soma was talking about yesterday in another session, or it is, like I said before, on our behalf, creating real maritime networks to go out and connect to these more remote regions of your good country. They are all real investments, real facts on the ground that we need to contribute with. Then we spoke on efficiency. I think the focus for us, and where we would like to keep on working with Indian ship owners, is to make sure that the tonnage that we use for our coastal networks is as efficient as possible. It doesn't need to stay 22 years old in average. It can also be modernized. And we believe that it's important that we do not only move cargo at sea, but we also move it efficiently at sea. And that connects to my third point, which is also what was touched upon on decarbonization. We should remember that decarbonization, never mind how much we talk about it, it doesn't come by itself. And we can actually build as many ships as we want. If there is no fuel available to fuel those new ships in a decarbonized way, then there won't be any decarbonization. We strongly believe that one of the things we should do, and especially in India, is to make sure that the networks that we are running are as efficient as possible, as I just said, because it's a fact that the most green ton of bunker you can burn, and we should remember that the majority of our footprint from a CO2 perspective is burning bunker on the ships. the most efficient, the most green ton of bunker you can burn is actually the ton that you don't burn. That is as green as it can get. It doesn't have any footprint at all. And therefore, we need to, while we are waiting for the production of green fuels to become something that we can really start using in all of these new ships that are being ordered, then we should work with the efficiencies of the existing network so that we are as efficient, we are burning as little fuel as possible. Those opportunities, we believe, as a group, but also as a shipping company, that those are the ones that we need to have in focus.
Thanks, Jesper. This is very, very helpful, and I've been reminded that we are running short on time. So what I'll do, I'll open this to audience. We can have few questions from the panelists, and then come back. Please go ahead. We need to give some mics in the audience. Please state your name, make the question crisp, and please tell to whom you are asking. The gentleman at the back first.
Hi, good morning. My name is Rohit. I work for MOL India. And my question is to Mr. Bhushan Kumar. So it's regarding the digitization. When we are talking about digitization in the logistics sector, I think we are missing the shipping part of it. Still, the ships when are coming to port, there is a lot of human interaction, interface when the ships are, for the clearing of the ships from customs, immigration, and port health. That not only causes lot of inefficiency, but the data itself is lost, it cannot be interrogated. And the governing body, International Maritime Organization, they have already long time back issued the electronic standards for the data exchange from the ships. But in the Indian side, or there is talk about digitization for the cargo movement within the country, but there is nothing for the ships per se. So what is your, government is working on that, or what's your opinion?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think you have a very valid point. You are right, multiple agencies are working in the port, multiple processes are there, right? So what we have done is we have created a national logistic portal, right? In which the customs and all other authorities, they have streamlined their processes. And as I said earlier, this will get finally integrated into the ULIP, Unified Logistic Interface Portal, which is being developed by DPIIT, right? So we will have a unified logistic interface portal in which all ministries, all departments will have their processes through digital mode and also streamlined. So I believe that this problem will get resolved once all stakeholders are on board. But let me also tell you, there is a concern which we are facing. Now when we have developed this kind of digital platform, so government authorities are on board, but private players are not coming on board because they don't want to share their commercial data with anyone, you know. So we are trying to convince them that this is safe, secure, and all those efforts we are making. But as far as the software part of it is concerned, it's already ready. I think the government is making more and more efforts, but private sector, the stakeholder, the shipping companies, all also have to take steps to come forward, on board these kind of systems as soon as possible, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Question, yeah, please.
Hello, my name is Nitin Ram. I'm a PhD student, and I have a question related to the disruption happening in the supply chain. As earlier, we are following JIT, just in time, but after post-COVID, there has been a rise in inventory-led supply chain. So is that a scope for an opportunity in the maritime sector, or is it going to be a challenge for the maritime sector?
Excuse me, could you repeat the question? Sorry.
Okay.
Couldn't hear.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Okay. So prior, most of the organization have been following just-in-time value chain, supply chain, and post-COVID, there has been a rise in the inventory-led supply chain. So when inventory-led supply chain is happening, is that gonna raise the scope for opportunity to the maritime sector, or is that gonna be a challenge to the maritime sector?
It's a good question. I think it's two sides of the same coin. Inventories it has always been a challenge that we wouldn't have a steady flow of cargo moving. If we are to take waste out of our service system, our production system, if I can put it like that, we in a perfect world will get a steady flow of cargo, more or less exact same numbers of containers moving in each direction every month. We will have a balanced trade, but that's not how it works. So and that is actually what we, and I think the industry, is trying all the time. It is to optimize under these circumstances. So is it a disadvantage or an advantage to the industry? I don't know. It's just our job, and we need to do it. Whatever the customers, our role is to take pain points away from our customers, and sometimes it's easier than others to take away those pain points, but that's our job. I hope that was an answer.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just take the last question and just close the Q&A. Yeah.
Namaste, my name is Vikas Raunier. I come from Kathmandu. I'm the Executive Director of Interstate Multimodal Transport. My question is related to landlocked countries. Country like ours, Nepal and Bhutan, faces a lot of difficulties because of our geographical situation. So can, in any way, shipping companies can be sympathetic and do something to reduce the transportation and logistic costs? Can we think about it? Because also because of the climate changes and what happened in Sikkim recently, the roads are damaged, and again the goods cargo costs will really increase. So can we be sympathetic towards the landlocked countries? Thank you.
Let me start by saying there's one thing that I think that we can't change. It would be difficult to send ships into Nepal, never mind what we do. So we need to get in and out there by other means than just ships. We spoke about what we at least in Europe call multimodality early on, and we talked about seamless end-to-end and all of this. I guess it's a part of an answer to that, right? The better we get in being able to connect end-to-end via multimodal solutions, i.e., seamless transportation on rail or road to and from a nearest possible port, I think that it's not a unique tool, but it is the best tool we have in our toolbox at present times to circumvent some of these constraints that Nepal sits where it sits.
And if I may add on, also from the industry, I think in this great nation, logistics cost is 13 to 14% of the GDP. It's not my numbers, it's the numbers of the government. What does it tell us? The long answer is very long. The short answer is there's a lot of waste. So we need to take out waste. And how can we take out waste? There's something about infrastructure, as you are talking about, rail, road, etc., making efficient use of this. It's also about data, creating decisions that are data-driven, use of AI, predictive data. How can we make the best use of the infrastructure? It's also about talent. I have 17,000 employees and colleagues here in India. We need to develop the skills of those people and for the rest of the industry. The more talent we have, the more creative ideas we'll come up with. So there's many elements to this. I think we have talked about some of the government policies, National Logistics Plan, Sagarmala, etc. This is a great foundation, but we need to get the things done, and we need to do it. We all have a responsibility, together with the government, together with regulators, but also us as an industry, and we will be doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just add one point. I represent the ship owners, but I will say this on behalf of the government. I know that there is a huge amount of effort that is being made by our ministry, that is the Ministry of Ports, and by the Department of Logistics to try and reduce these costs. I can only say this to you this much, that we are involved in a lot of these things where the ministry talks to us, and I'm happy for you to educate me. I know nothing about where the difficulties are, but if you would be so kind enough to let me know about it, I'm happy to sit down and talk to you. Since you don't live here, I'm happy to work on your behalf to ensure that, you know, something is done, and keep reminding the concerned people, so that hopefully, you know, it will supplement the efforts of somebody like, say, a mainline shipping company or a multimodal logistics company like Unifeeder, DP World and Maersk. So I'm happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a MOU coming up, but you know, Arnath sir has allowed us to ask one more question. So, sir, before the MOU, we can have one more question and go ahead. Yeah. Can start the MOU after this.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Very good morning to everyone. I represent SIRSS Mumbai University, and as a student of IR, I believe that logistics is very important when you look at it from a broader perspective, because there is a lot of development happening in terms of geopolitical risk, and given that India is surrounded by neighbors where Chinese investments are involved, say in Sri Lanka, in Gwadar and regions, I want to ask the panel, how does that affect the logistics and supply chains? And like Ito-san sir had said, that there is uneven growth in the field of logistics. How does it affect, and how does businesses work on it? Thank you.
I am very happy to see a question like this coming from a youngster. Good. So as far as the logistic costs are concerned, those are very high, and there are development by other countries also, right? The only solution is that we have to be competitive, right? We have to, this is, the entire logistic chain is pure business, right? We have to be competitive, we have to improve our system. And in last 10 years, we have seen a lot of improvement. If I just talk about the logistic index, the report published by the World Bank, 10 years back, we were around, I think, 54 rank in the world. And now our logistic rank has improved to 38 by around 16 times. And we are expecting that we will be among top 10 by 2030. That is the target under national logistic policy, right? As Pedersen also said, right, that our logistic costs are high by 6%, right? This 6%, the youngsters like you must understand, and also the stakeholders here, right? All of us have to work together. This 6% sounds a very small number, right? 6%. This 6% is actually a 6% of GDP. And our GDP is how much? $2.6 trillion. $2.6 trillion. If I roughly, for the ease of calculation, take it $3 trillion. $3 trillion, 6% means $180 billion. $180 billion, $1 billion is 8,300 crore. 8,300 multiplied by 180, it is 15 lakh crore. That is what he is talking about is going waste, right? That is why 15 lakh crore, just to give you an idea, for a country where annual budget is 40 lakh crore, right? This, although there is no direct relation, that is the amount going waste. He rightly pointed out. And Government of India is working on that. Sagarmala was launched with this objective only, that we have to reduce our logistic costs through by improving our connectivity, rail, road, all these connectivity projects. But these are long projects, right? We are working on more than 300 projects. These will take time, right? I think Jasper is right that on ground it is taking time. Out of 300 projects, only 75 have been completed. More than 100 are under construction. Very soon those will also get completed. And the remaining ones which are under tendering and on the development DPR stage, those will also get awarded very soon. So I am at least very optimistic that by 2030 we will be among the top 10 countries in the world as far as the logistic performance index is concerned. And if you see our liner connectivity index also, we were 10 years back, we were around 30th rank, right? Now we are already 23 as per the recent UNACTED report. So that is also improving because our performance at ports, the modernization, PPP investment, all those things are making us more and more competitive. If we have to compete with the other countries, we have to improve, we have to be the best in the world. Right now, Jasper and other colleagues are right that we have to expedite, we have to be more fast, and we are working towards that. We are very much aware of the kind of money getting wasted due to slow movement of the cargo. We are working in tandem under Gati Shakti program with all the ministries, right? But these are infrastructure projects, so we have to be a little this thing. And also all stakeholders are here. So stakeholders also have to play a lot of role, right? Like I mentioned, digital initiative. We can create platform, we can create ecosystem. But if you have concerns, please come up, speak to us. We are there to resolve. If any movement to Nepal or other issues are there, right? We are there. There is a service improvement group formed for that. There is digital solutions for that, right? There is a sectoral plan which each ministry is preparing. If some commodities are flowing to Nepal or other countries, so those can be included in the sectoral movement plan, logistic plan prepared by each ministry. But we need more and more feedback from all of you. Please keep on writing to us. We have to work as a team. It's not that we are on the one side of the table, you are on the other, right? We are a single team. India as a country will have to grow, and all of us have to work together, right? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Just to supplement this sir's question, I would like to compliment Government of India and just add on to what sir has said. And at the same time, when India is progressing, when you are saying China is developing ports, you cannot ignore that the India is presence and showing their presence like new developments like Chabahar port connectivity, developing ports on their international borders, and fully 100% they would operate over there, which gives access to Russia, CIS countries direct with the international north-south transport corridor. And not only that, if you see Adani is also developing ports on Sri Lanka, then it was now new coming on Tanzania and the Israel port. So the presence of India has also been noted on this. If China comes on the Godar port, even India is having, it cannot be ignored. The progressive is taking place on the other side also. So it's really a great thing which India has been progressing with. Thanks.
No, thanks for saying that. I had a tough job. You can see 300 years of experience to be shared in 45 minutes. I think but the panel has done a great job. Thank you all for this.
Well, my sincere thanks to all our incredible panelists and certainly to our distinguished moderator for threading this so beautifully together. At this juncture, with the permission of our respected convener, may I please request Mrs. Sondhi to come up on stage to announce the next set of MOUs, please. Thank you.
The first MOU between Paradip Port and Renew E-Fuel Private Limited. Its value is 25,500. It is for setting up the green ammonia and green hydrogen plant and export through port. I would request Mr. Vivek Singla from E-Renew Energy. Second MOU is between Infinity Global and Paradip Port Authority. I would request Mr. Vivek from Infinity. It is 10,500 crores project for setting up the green ammonia and green hydrogen plant and export through port. Next one, Larsen and Turbo Energy. I would request Mr. Derek M. Shah, Senior VP and Head. It is a 1,030 crores project for green ammonia production plant and intermediate storage tanker facility at Paradip Port. 1,030. Next one with Mr. Wellspun Energy, New Energy Limited. I would request Mr. Vijay, President. From this value of this project is 13,860 crores for setting up the renewable power, that is green ammonia and other green derivatives facility and plant and intermediate storage tankers facility at Paradip Port. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that segment. And let's move on and thank our incredible members on the dais. I would request Mr. P.L. Harnad, Chairman, Paradip Port Authority, to kindly felicitate our incredible dignitaries on the dais. Shri Bhushan Kumar, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Government of India. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Mr. Kensuke Ito, Managing Director, MOL Shipping India Private Limited. Mr. Shailesh Bildikar, Commercial Director, Maritime Logistics, TriStar, and Emirates Ship Investment Company. Mr. Rene Peel Pedersen, Managing Director, AP Moller Singapore Private Limited. Mr. Jesper Christensen, Global Chief Operating Officer, DP World Marine Services and Group CEO, Unifeeder Group. Mr. Anil Devli, Chief Executive Officer, Indian National Ship Owners Association. And lastly, Mr. Shankar Shinde, Chairman, Federation of Freight Forwarders Associations in India. Thank you very much once again to all our esteemed dignitaries on the dais. With that being said, to give the concluding remarks and the vote of thanks, please join me in welcoming Mr. Rathendra Raman, Chairman, Syam Prasad Mukherjee Port Authority. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
A very good afternoon to all of you. It is indeed a real privilege and honor for me to present the concluding remarks for this session on the occasion of Global Maritime India Summit, that is GMIS 2023. This is one of the important sessions of this summit, as we all have to understand the recent trends in shipping and maritime logistics to make investments or do the strategic planning, otherwise things would go haywire. In this context, this session can be seen as a strategic meet of the Indian and international maritime community experts to address the key industry issues and exchange ideas to take the sector forward. I would like to thank Sri Bhushan Kumarji, J. Sagarmala, for his thoughtful inputs on impact of Sagarmala and other investment facilitators on maritime ecosystem, and also for his valuable insights into the national logistic policy and PM Gati Shakti. I must mention our deep sense of appreciation to Mr. Ito for his take on and highlighting the current positive and negative trend in shipping sector. Further, we are grateful to Sri Shailesh Bildikarji for his insights of mergers and acquisition in the industry. And I express my sincere thanks to Mr. Rene Pedersenji for his excellent coverage on disruption and paradigm shift in supply chain. I would like to acknowledge our gratitude to Mr. Jasper for his analysis on focus on building on seamless regional network in order to cater to supply chain. Mr. Devli's key inputs on investments and policy reforms have been very valuable. I thank him for the same. I would like to also thank Mr. Shankar Shinde for giving us the importance of digitization in freight forwarding. But last but not the least, I would like to thank Sri P.L. Harnad, Chairman Paradip Port, for being the convener of this session. And I would also like to thank Mr. Muhammad Arthur for conducting this session. And finally, I would like to conclude and thank FICCI, officials of ports, and various organizations, and captains of the industry and trade for participating in this session. Thank you.
Thank you once again. All the delegates are requested to please collect the kits from the registration counter. All the delegate kits need to be collected from the registration counter. Thank you very much.